Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Before the year ends, I thought of sharing one more interesting topic with you guys, and that would be from PPDS. So here I'm going to talk about the subcontracting with third-party provision for the components in embedded PPDS, which is S4 Hana. On my right-hand side, you can see there are a few other topics, especially from the subcontracting part, which are also available in S4 Hana, but I am using the third-party point of view. Okay. Let us see the purpose. So the purpose of this third-party provision of components is that will enable the components of the product to be manufactured by the subcontractor, and the product which will be supplied to the subcontractor will be also the external. So here you can see the example we have taken, like uh, there is a plant which is manufacturing their devices in the US, handheld devices in the US. Okay, so there is a subcontractor in the Asia which does that for the US plant. And rather than sending the components from the US to the Asia, what we have tried doing is we have found a vendor in the Asia itself who will give the housings to the subcontractor, and the finished product will be transferred to the US plant. Okay, so that is the example we have taken. um, so the prerequisites. So when you use the embedded PPDS, okay, and S4 HANA, you have to have customer, okay, which will be moved to PPDS as plant 1001. Type vendor will be moved as 1021. It will be called as a business partner. Subcontractor will be as 1050, and supplier will be 1021, right? So when you move through the report which I will be showing you, it automatically takes all the numbers what you can see on the PPDS side. What data do you have to maintain in S4 HANA for this scenario to run? Okay, so there are 9 points together altogether. You have to transfer the plant information. So here we will be using 1710, that will be moved towards the PPDS side, which is already there by default. Okay, so I have already completed the steps. So you have to move the location, you have to move the business partner, which I just showed you in the previous slide. You need to create the subcontracting MRP area, without which this will not be possible. Uh, Information will be sent to the PPDS using this report. So all this information, like subcontracting partner, business partner, supplier, all of them will be using the same okay, program. Rather, a report, it's a program. Okay, assign the subcontracting MRP area to the created component. So the only components will have the MRP area assigned, not the finished product. There will be a purchasing info record created as a subcontracting category, which will be created for the end product. Okay, there will be also a purchasing info record which will be created for the supplier. All right, we have to sift this supplier towards the PPDS side. Okay, using CFM1 transaction. So here I have mentioned create an integration model and transfer the standard info record to PPDS. Okay, and then send the PDS, which is nothing but a production version, using the transaction go to ADV underscore create, and we have to use the absolute transfer. Okay, we do have option of subcontracting without subcontracting. Make sure you are using the subcontracting option, else the subcontracting part does not work towards the PPDS side. So what data will be moved towards the PPDS side, or need to be created manually? This will be automatically created when you move through the program, right, from the previous slide. There will be external procurement relationships and transportation lanes, which will be automatically created for the finished product once you move the PDS, and the transportation lane from the vendor, okay, the supplier to the subcontractor, because both are in the Asia. We need to create a transportation lane that will be manually. Okay, so SEC underscore LT1 will be your transaction for your transportation lane. Okay, that we will be looking into. Right, so let us get into the system and see how it works. So I'm not actually going to show you all the config, all the master data, all right? Just few important points. So you can go to logistics and go to advanced planning, master data. Okay, we can go to PDS that we have moved. So to display the PDS, I'm using this. So product is subcon FG PPDS, location is 1710, and then I can execute. So once you see this, you can see there are raw material, okay, which I said will be provided by the vendor or the supplier to the subcontractor. Here you can see the location, which will be automatically moved when you are moving the production version from S4 Hana side. Okay. If you select this and click on external procurement detail, you can see the transportation lane, which I was talking about. Okay, so here your assigned transportation lane, this will be automatically created as soon as you move the PDS. Okay, make sure that your info record is available. Okay, this is my subcontractor, this is my info record number, okay, which I have created for the supplier and my material combination in S4 HANA side using ME11 transaction. ME12, if I have to display you. So this is my supplier, subcontractor, FG 1710, 1710. Okay, go back and subcontracting. Okay, so this is the number, info record number, which you are able to see towards the transportation lane, right? So this will be automatically transferred. Here you can see the info record, right? You have to create another important part that has to be kept in mind, that the version. Okay, so this version is nothing but my production version. This has to be assigned in the info record, else your component details towards the PPDS side will not be transferred. Okay, so this is one of your mandatory step for maintaining the master data when you are maintaining the info record. Okay, let us go back and let me show you the manual transportation lane that we have created, that you can find under the transportation lane. This is their transaction SCC1 location. This is my supplier, which will be in the Asia, and it will be supplying to the subcontractor, right? So this is my raw material, and this transportation lane has to be created manually. You are in display mode, you can also go in the change mode and you can create if your entry does not exist. Okay, these are the mandatory prerequisites that we need to be very sure it is available or not. If I go to locations, I can show you the business partners and all those things here. So we'll go to business partner. Let us remove and search. So this is the supplier which I will be using, and this will be used for my raw material, and this particular supplier will provide the cases to the domestic subcontractor. So these two are used, okay, towards the PPDS side. So this is of type 1021. We have to also see 1050 subcontractor. Okay, so this is two subcontractors I have used, and this is used in my MRP area. So this subcontractor will be only available when you move the MRP areas towards the PPDS side. Okay, so I'll just show you the MRP area which is created and assigned to my raw material. You have to go to MRP1 view, go down MRP areas. So this is the MRP area which I have created. You can go in the config. If you are from the PP background, you would be definitely knowing MRP areas, which will be very easy for creation, and you need to assign it. Another important part, when you go in the MRP areas, you have to make sure the special procurement 45 is there, which is transfer of the stock to MRP areas. Okay, this. So these are all my prerequisites that has to be available before you can run the scenario. Now let us go to the product view, SAP APO underscore RRP3. I'm giving my finished product. Currently I'm in display mode. Let me go in change mode. Okay, here you can see there is already a stock of 1000 because I have run few scenarios from which the stock has been developed. Okay, now I'm giving one requirement here which I can definitely give, or that can come from the planned independent requirements. I can see there is already a planned independent requirement which I can delete. Okay, now I can give a new one. Suppose in the month of January I would need, already my stock is of 1000, so I'm saying 1005. 1500 is my requirement, and that will come as a planned independent requirement for me. Okay, this is my material, this is my location, and I'll run the product heuristic. Okay, once your product heuristic is completed, you can see this third party purchase requisition, which will be of your deficit. So you have thousands as a stock, your requirement is 1500, so it will be created by the system automatically. Okay, and let us save it. Now once you go at the the raw material side, press enter. Okay, you have to choose the location as subcon. Right, once you go to the subcon, you can see the 500 requirement which was falling short at the finished product level will be shown here. Okay, you can see in the pegging overview. 1 minute. Right now there is, my bad, right now there is no product heuristic which I have run, like the multi-level has not completed. So I'll do one thing, let me run the product heuristic. Okay, so once you run the product heuristic, there will be also a stock transfer requirement, right? So we do have source of supply, right? So I would like to change that source of supply so that I get a purchase requisition. So I can do that here. This is my supplier which I want to use. I'll select and say adopt. Okay, so my source of supply is updated. Let me go back, and I see there is a purchase requisition which is created. Now this purchase requisition has few characteristics which I'll discuss right now. Let me just save it first. Okay, so there is a purchase requisition created. Now all this information I can also see at the S4 Hana side. So if I go to MD04, press enter, I am in the MRP area of a plant. I need to go to subcon, press enter. Okay, here you can see the purchase requisition which is created from the PPDS side, 1299, and here I have 1299. Right, now if I go to intra-plant view, I can turn on the MRP area stock as well. Right now it is all zeros. Right, if I click on vendor, I can see that this purchase requisition will be created from vendor 1730010, and it will be moved to this particular vendor, which is a subcontractor. So typically what happens in the subcontracting process, you get the stock, you get a purchase requisition, you finish that purchase requisition, you get a stock in your own plant, you do the stock transfer using 541 movement type. right? To avoid that my stock will go to US first, and from US again I'll move it to Asia. To avoid that, this purchase requisition will move the stock directly to my subcontractor. So if you open this, here you can see the fixed vendor. Just go to display mode, and then you see the delivery address. Okay, here you can see the supplier. So this will be my subcontractor supplier, from which it will be automatically moved here rather than sending it to US and do the 541 movement type, right? So this is the setup which we have to do if I want to move it within Asia. Okay, so after this, let us do one thing. uh, Let us convert this purchase requisition to a purchase order. So select this and say copy, right? So all the details will be copied. Delivery address is still the same, supplier is still the same, and I would save it. Okay, this will be created to a PO now. All right, and this will also go towards my S4 Hana side. If I refresh, this will be a purchase order 1581, and this is also 1581. Okay, next thing, we have to also convert the purchase requisition which will be created at the finished product side. Okay, let me move it to 1710. Okay, here we have a purchase requisition. Now convert this. Here you can see vendor is my subcontractor vendor, and this particular purchase requisition is of subcontractor type. Through item category we can easily identify. So here if you see, I'll show you. If you see under this item category L means it's of a subcontracting type. Okay, so you can easily identify between two purchase rec. Material data, make sure you have the components here, right? So this is my raw material which is part of my subcontracting PO. Now we will save it. Okay, so once you have saved this, towards the Fiori side you have the subcontracting tiles. You can monitor the subcontracting documents. You can go to subcontracting cockpit. This will be used when you're moving from 541 movement type. So I'll go here, monitor subcontracting cockpit. Go down, and here you can see this is the PO 1582, and let me refresh, 1582. Okay, now here I can do few things. I can go to this monitor purchase order items, or I can see the supplier confirmation. This will only work if you go through ME 2O route, okay, that you are creating the outbound delivery and all those things. If I click here, let me give the currency USD, right? Here you can see the purchase order. Here you can see that it has not been delivered yet. Okay, you have to do the delivery. You can change the graph mode, chart mode, and all those things. Here the next delivery date you can see. Now if I click on this, I can again go to manage purchase order, or I can go to the goods receipt of the purchasing document, right? So this particular Fiori tile will give me all kind of navigations that I can do. Ultimately we need to do the uh, goods receipt, right? So before we do a goods receipt for the finished product, you have to make sure that your supplier has provided enough raw materials required for the raw material level, right? So we'll come here again. Let me do one thing. We'll use GUI. I'm going to PPDS raw material. subcon. Okay, I'll pick up this and do a goods receipt for this through Migo. Goods receipt, purchase order, Migo. Let me refresh. Yeah, so it was not refreshed. This is my purchase order number. Here you can see it is going direct to the supplier. Okay, and this is my supplier number. If I click OK, click on check and say post, right? So my document is posted. Now intra plant view. So the stock will increase now. Okay, let me refresh. Right, so my subcon MRP area stock has been increased, and this particular stock will be further used when I do a goods receipt of this PO, and the stock will be gone as zero because the vendor will be using this particular raw material stock to make my finished product or the end product. So I'll select here and say post. Okay, my material document is posted. If I refresh here, this will be all zeros. I did not refresh earlier because I have already posted the end product as well. So all the stock which has been created will be used. When you go towards the finished goods side on the PPDS, here you can see, let me refresh. Your stock has been increased as 1500. Earlier it was 1000 quantities, right? Your demand was 1500. So to meet your demand, there was a purchase rec created. Everything has been successfully posted, right? So here I did not do any 541 movement type, right, to send the goods to the supplier. It was all done through the configuration and the master data. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. So please like, subscribe for more contents, and do reach me out on my email address if you would like to have a training on this. Thank you.